We recently had a hotfix that I didn't talk much about because it only had a couple of very tiny little changes for multiplayer, one of which was nerfing the damage on Doom Bolt, hence the Dark Elves here today, courtesy of Rider of Rohan. There is another patch coming on Monday, and they've moved it from I forget the terminology exactly, but it's basically, instead of a hotfix, it's more of a full-fledged patch. Have some fixes and so forth coming. We'll see from a multiplayer balance perspective. Hopefully we get some meteor changes, but for today we're going to be taking a look at this replay between Dark and Wood Elves, Rider of Rohan versus Hanadins, and let's take a look at the builds as they are starting quite close together. That massive Wood Elf Vanguard already charging in. We've got a front line of Bleak Swords for the Dark Elves. Yeah, Black Ark Corsairs and Spearmen as well. Single Corsair, a couple Spearmen on the flanks. We've got some Dark Rider shields. Doomfire Warlocks as well, a couple of them. And then a Manticore plus Malekith on the Chariot. Super nice and interesting choice. Yeah, he's got Blade Wind and Soul Stealer. Gaze of Malice bound as well, of course. And he did take the Circlet of Iron, which is going to give extra power recharged and miscast chance to allies in range, which is quite nice. Get to pump some magic out a little bit quicker on this quick engagement kind of game. Definitely makes sense against the Wood Elves, so we did see the big old Vanguard of Dryads immediately running in. Wild Riders with shields. Got some Sisters of Thorn, Draika leading the way. And Dark Elves already, or Wood Elves rather, already had time for a quick hit and run charge, now trying to pull those Wild Riders away. It doesn't look like they're able to really cleanly disengage here, and Dark Elves do have some Dark Shards pretty well protected right now, but it looks like the Wild Hunters of Kurnos find a gap. They're going to get back after these Corsairs, and due to their armor piercing, should do pretty well there, although they do kind of get countercharged here by Dark Riders. Rider of Rohan could unload the Dark Shards also at close range. We'll see. Yeah, some supporting spears in there. So not the cleanest engagement, but over on the other side, Wood Elves popping off some bound spells here. Yeah, Sisters of Thorn get caught flat-footed a little bit. Manticore charges in. The Doomfire is supporting. They're going to cut through that physical resistance like butter, which is the Sisters of Thorn main defensive stat here, of course, besides their speed. Trying to avoid engagements. They're going to pull back there. Big murderous prowess kicking off for the Dark Elves. And a lot of little small pitched engagements here. Draika summons her Malevolent Dryads to get on those Dark Shards. Going to shut them down quite easily. So the Wood Elf Rush definitely in contact. Scourge Chariots getting run down by Wild Riders. I don't know. Haven't lost any unit models? No, they have lost a single unit model. So already down some ammunition there. But Malekith going to stay relentless. Pop a really nicely placed Soul Stealer here. Looks like some units are going to move out of the area of effect, but some are going to move into it as Sisters of Thorn try and get a little bit close. They don't actually get hit by it. I guess some of these AoE spells you have to actually be in them when the AoE goes off to get hit, and some of them you can kind of move in and out of. Anyway, yeah, regardless, Malekith going to stay quite healthy here. Do some damage with his Chariot as well. Has some decent splash attacks. Draika getting fully surrounded. Black Ark Corsairs ended up weathering that engagement just fine. And their anti-infantry in a surround on her is going to be a little bit dangerous. Got to be careful of that. But Wood Elf's going to get some of their mobility together, try and get some decisive engagements, run down some routing units perhaps. Doomfire Warlocks looming, lurking once more. I really like the Manticore just as a little extra punch here. Although Manticores have kind of been power crept out over time. Definitely been power crept out over time. They are still a decent kind of support monster, given their cost. In a situation like this, like to pick against the Wood Elves quite a bit, and winning out on some cavalry engagements, mobility engagements. Yeah, that lack of armor piercing isn't so much of an issue, and, you know, supporting your own light cavalry against the enemy light cavalry. It's just, you know, it's a light cavalry fiesta here for the... Apologies, guys. I've been a little bit sick this week, but there we go. The bound Doombolt coming in from the Doomfire Warlocks. I'd have to double check the patch notes again if it actually affected the lesser Doombolt or just the regular, like, spell Doombolt. Not 100% sure. Maybe one of you guys can let us know down in the comments below. Corsairs moving forward. Trying to just screen these Sisters of Thorn away. Sisters honestly don't have that great of targets to throw javelins at, besides maybe the Doomfire Warlocks if they can get close enough, but they're also the most dangerous unit to the Sisters themselves, so tricky on that. Rika getting hit by the Soul Stealer here, also in a pitched engagement against Malekith there. The anti-infantry armor piercing of the chariot will serve Malekith quite well. His giant unicycle chariot. The mono wheel. What is it? The dread mono wheel, probably. Manticore just kind of appears on the ground here. Hello. Like a good puppy. Just wants to get some pets from Malekith. Gonna turn and fight against Drika. Sisters of Thorn move in. Little hit and run rear charge. Malekith, though, 110 armor on his chariot makes him quite resilient unless you have dedicated armor piercing. And the Wood Elves did not really in this build. I mean, Wild Hunters of Kurnos were going to be their best bet, but Wood Elf player here, Hanadins, did get pretty aggressive with them running in the back line. Trying to shut down those Dark Guards, the Black Ark Corsairs, so forth. But chariots at times have been pretty good, honestly, against Wood Elves, particularly single entity chariots if they're solid, because they interact a little bit better with light cavalry. Like regular chariot units sometimes can get killed by Wild Riders, although if they have enough armor, even then, like with good infantry support, they can sometimes just win. But single entity chariots in particular, they have armor piercing or punch back hard against the Wild Riders, even if they don't have armor piercing. If they just have solid magic damage, weapon strength, and decent armor, it's a good combination to be able to do well. Even somebody like Volkmar, honestly, even though he's not as good as he once was, can still get some pretty good work done here. I'm trying to think of other like really good single entity chariot lords. There's honestly not that many in the game right now. It's a little bit sad. It's a lord archetype that I do quite enjoy. Just from a gameplay mechanics perspective, I find them a lot of fun to play with. But anyway, Malekith's a solid one, definitely. He's able to do quite solidly here. Yeah, almost 24,000 damage value as gold. 16, almost 17,000 damage dealt, 150 kills just about. Yeah, pretty good stuff. And then from the rest, Wild Riders with almost 1,000 damage value is fantastic. Or Dark Riders, rather. The Doomfire Warlocks also, pretty good performance from them. Yeah, Scourge Chariots kind of get shut down a little bit here, and they are a little bit of a lighter chariot. They have decent armor, but not that much HP, and definitely get killed by the right cavalry units, which they definitely did here. Support infantry, yeah, does some supporting. Mostly just kind of dies. Hanadin's, hats off to him. He put a pretty good game up, just really didn't have the right tools to kill Malekith, and the tools he did have didn't get the right engagement to be able to do it, so there you go. Wild Riders overall did pretty decently. Wild Hunters of Kurnos, though, given how expensive they are, probably need a little bit more for them. I do like the triple Sisters of Thorn. It does put your build into a somewhat kind of linear fashion. Maybe it would have been more advantageous to maybe not rush here and go for a little bit more of like a hit-and-run style kite game. But hard to say. Rika also really good value on her. The Race of the Frozen Heart got some pretty good value. I do feel like Dryads in general are in that range where the little bit of extra stats you get does help a decent amount. One other Dryad also does pretty well, but also very situational about the engagements they get against Dark Elves infantry. They'll generally mow through the lower tier ones, but you know, anything like Corsairs and ups, more of an even engagement for sure, or else they'll just lose to the high tier infantry. Not that you see those much in this matchup. They're very vulnerable, but nonetheless, very fun matchup between these two. Very fun game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.